comment in the comment box when the first people get in. What's up? What's up? So let's do our intros. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Y'all read that intro. Let me do that again. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on your way in. Definitely hit that like button on your way in. Y'all saw that title. What are we talking about? We're actually not talking about women in this beginning part. We're gonna start off and kick it off with the real convo. So I watched the clip of Charlemagne speaking to Ida. Ida, the comedian. I think her last name is Rodriguez. Kind of Afro Latina. Um, or like she looks more indigenous looking, but um, Afro Latina sister from down here in South Florida. She's a comedian. I've been following her on and off for a few years. Um, Actually, a little bit longer than a few years. What's going on, Toya? Toya in here. What's up? What's up? Um, and so Charlemagne interviewed Ida, and Charlemagne was asking, why don't Latinos kind of vote a little bit more like how black people vote, and what's the story with that? And Ida spoke about race, and she was like, people don't want to acknowledge it, but we have our own white people too in the Latino community. Um, and if you don't know, Haiti is actually technically a Latino country too, the first. Um, but yeah, right. So I read through the comments and I saw this video on Instagram. I might put the link in my description after the fact. And there were a number of Latinos that tried to play it down. A number of Latinos that said no, it's because they tend to vote Republican because they come from these socialist countries like Cuba and like Venezuela, and they're not trying to they like their gun rights and they're not trying to deal with the same things, and that's why they vote Republican. Listen, I'm going all in tonight. I'm not pulling back no punches. Oh, this is gonna be profanity tonight. Y'all are so full of shit. Let me say this to the Latino community. Y'all are so. I grew up with Cubans and Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, and yes, a handful of Mexicans, but mainly the Cubans, the Dominicans, the white ones are racist as shit. And everybody know it. Stop it with your crap about, oh, we came from these countries and the reason we vote like this and the reason we think this is because no, 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 no. Amarla Negra bust y'all out years ago. Y'all been having one or two Latinos every so often come out and straight up say, nah, y'all are racist as crap. And sometimes it's not even the Afro Latinos, right? Or the indigenous ones. Sometimes it'd be the straight up Blancos that say, yeah, my aunt and my grandma and them are racist as crap. I grew up with borderline people who family was borderline neo-Nazi Cubans, and they keep on coming out their mouth. No, it's not that. No. Stop. Half the reason why y'all ran from Batista in Cuba, yeah, because he was gonna socialize things in Cuba, but also, let's be honest, because he was gonna be a little bit more fair to the black people. Excuse me. Half the reason y'all left Cuba when Castro came in, or when y'all saw Batista was gonna lose, it's not just because Castro was communist. Stop it. It's also because you knew Castro was gonna be a little bit more fair to the black people than Batista was. Do we want to talk about Trujillo in Dominican Republic? Cut the crap. Right? Much of the reason why y'all didn't like Hugo Chavez because he claimed his blackness too much too in Venezuela. Cut the crap. Puerto Ricans, black Dominicans, right? Black Cubans. Some of the mixed ones will all tell you, or will often tell you, how anti-black and racist y'all are. And then every time black Americans have conversations with Latinos, they start copping pleas. No, that's not it. It's because where we come from and these socialist leaders, or that, yeah, we don't see race, or we don't have that race problem in our community. Bullshit. Mejor La Raza, anyone? And that's not something from yesteryear. Just a couple years ago, I was talking to a straight up white, not mestizo, a straight up white Argentinian who's dating a more mulatto looking. At the time, he was dating a more mulatto looking, um, and she was mulatto, Latina. And he straight up said, when my dad first met her, I had to curse my. He didn't say curse. He said he had to argue with his dad because his dad said Mahalo Raza to him. Right? So y'all could cut the crap. Y'all start getting real embarrassed. Nuri Martinez is not rare. Y'all could stop it with that. Even in real life, I have somebody close to me a few years ago when their son was in school in Texas. In elementary school, the elementary school kids were saying racist stuff to the son. Dark skinned son. It wasn't the teachers. It was the kids, which lets you know the kids are getting it from home. You 5, 6, 7 years old, and you saying borderline racist stuff to another 5, 6, 7 year old? No, you getting that from home. In South Texas. So Mexican mainly. Right? Uh-oh, Victor Creed said, let's not act like they don't make the worst cops. Thank you, Victor Creed. Right? Gilgami, true enough, Gilgami said, and thank you, Victor Creed, for the 2 on the super chat. Gilgami said, white Hispanics are whites nonetheless. Absolutely true. Right? Gilgami dropping facts for y'all. The Spaniards came to America before the English/British. Absolutely 100% correct. The first two over here from Europe were the Portuguese and the Spaniards. Right? Racist as crap. Y'all want to have a conversation. Y'all worship the ground Columbus walk on. Y'all want to talk about what Columbus did on the island of Hispaniola? Huh? Y'all want to have that conversation? Come on, man. So I'd bust y'all out, and it happens so often, and it's mainly the women that be snitching on y'all. Right? Amarla Negra said it's not her mom so much, but from my understanding, I remember watching that years ago, the Vlad in TV interview. Right? We don't mess with Vlad, so I don't suggest y'all click it. But the Vlad TV interview from years ago, where she pretty much said that's what her mom's family or her mom's friends were on. Right? Told her not to date a white man to improve the race. Meanwhile, you got black men drooling all over Marla Negra. And her peoples are telling her not to date a black man. Not because of no character flaw, none of that. Not because he's going to leave you high and dry. No, simply improve the race. Back in 2010, I remember having a conversation with a Latina who told me one of her closest friends was married to a Latino, and the only reason she was married to a Latino is because her ex-boyfriend, who was black, her family made her break up with him. He was a great guy just because he was black. Now she's in this marriage with a Latino who she damn near despises. Right? I know stories of Latinas that ran away from home to be with their black now husband because the family was on some racist thing. Nicaraguan, white Nicaraguan, right? So y'all gotta stop acting like, oh no, this is some figment of black people's imagination. Oh no, I'm reading through the comments. No, or could it be that Latinos vote Republican because X, Y, and Z? It's not about race. Stop it. You could stop pretending now, right? You could stop pretending now. The brother Raj report got some wisdom for y'all. What's going on, Raj? Raj says, "What's up, y'all? The like button still works. How do I know? I just used it." Thanks, Raj. Right? Yeah. So I'm reading through the comments, and like I said, I've been watching Ida for a while, and she said that, and now you see people copping please in the comments. Like, what y'all lying for? Everybody know. Everyone knows. From the Portuguese speaking Brazilians to the Spanish speaking Cubans, everyone know, to the Spanish speaking Venezuelans, everyone know what go down in the Latino community or communities, because y'all don't even like each other like that, right? You could stop insulting people's intelligence. Thank you very much. You got Latinos in New York. You got Latinos in Illinois, in Texas, in California, in Florida, and the non-Latinos are pretty much saying the same thing in their interactions, particularly the black people. And these people are racist as crap, anti-black as hell. What? So we all don't know each other, but we're all making up a lie about you, right? Literally got a term called mejor la raza. And no matter what country you're from in Latin America, well, Spanish-speaking country you're from in Latin America, y'all all know the term. But everybody copping please. Nah, that's not my people, not where I'm from. I had a conversation with a co-worker one time from Uruguay who said the same thing. Oh no, we don't think like that. Bullshit. Every Latino always cop please when you start talking the colorism and racism conversation with them. Everybody start copping please. Y'all even got artwork. Um, I think I shared it before. I'm gonna try to share. I might actually make it the thumbnail for this. Y'all actually got artwork where the dark skinned grandma have her hands in the praying position with her lighter skinned daughter, her daughter's man who's white, and the kids who the great grandkids who are white. Right? Y'all got other pictures showing the color hierarchy with the white man on top, the more mestizo looking, the indigenous looking, the black looking, the damn racial pyramid scheme, literally. Right? In the black community, we have conversations about colorism ad nauseum. We joke about it, we're serious about it, we debate about it. We chastise black people for playing into and being the Uncle Ruckus and sellouts and selling out to white people. Y'all have that conversation in the Latino community? Ooh. Communities, excuse me. Right? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. So I'm reading the comments, and I'm sorry to go on the rant. I was starting the stream off going on a rant, but it's annoying to see people insult your intelligence. They're all cop and please in the comments. Like I didn't grow up Latino, or excuse me, Latina. Like she don't know what she talking about, right? From my understanding, Amarla Negra and Ida don't know each other like that. Amarla Negra said the same thing. You could find Latinos that's there was a young, well, he's probably a little bit older now, but there was a young brother in New York. I remember that started his YouTube career off speaking about that. Mulatto Latino brother that started off his YouTube career speaking about the racism in the Latino community, the anti-blackness in the Latino community. When you shake their family tree, there's always a black grandma that fall out the damn family tree that they try to stuff back in the closet. That's one of their kind of jokes when the lighter skin cousin get too uppity on them. That's what the darker skin cousin. They always talk about the black grandma, right? Don't act like both of our grandma ain't black, right? Story started off there. We're gonna move on to one of our favorite intersectional black man intersectional feminists, right? Mr. FD Signifier speaking about how black men weren't erased, right? There was no black male erasure. Spoiler alert, by the way. Well, I'm not gonna really spoil the story, but just in case, I'm gonna say spoiler alert, right? But FD Signifier spoke about Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, right? And he was like, there was no black male erasure. Luka Mbaku, right? Right. He covered a nice swath of black masculinity. And excuse me, my sinuses are acting up a little bit. And he didn't see nothing explicitly feminist about this movie. FD, bro, don't do that. You said explicitly. There was nothing but black girl boss feminism ran all over the movie, bro. There was nothing but black girl boss feminism written all over the movie. You had segments about girl boss feminism and how negative it is on some of your previous works. So you just could ignore the fact that this movie pretty much was black girl boss feminism, right? No. See, one of the things that you're going to continue to get pushback on is when you gaslight black men, right? And FD walks a really tight line where he's like, some of the brothers are overreaching, but he understands we want to see this kind of black male ubermensch in T'Challa, and yes, he misses T'Challa also, and that's like the greatest example or representation of black masculinity and manhood, right? But people are taking it way too far with this black male erasure. There was literally only one black man of note in the whole movie. Yeah. Mm, okay. Number one. Number two, it was nothing but black girl boss feminism. From Ironheart to Shuri to the Queen to Nakia to the other two sisters that's part of the Dora Milaje. Huh. To the That's all you saw. Actually, that's all. That's yeah. So, you don't see the problem here? No, not at FD, not at all. You notice you said there was no explicit feminism in this, right? I would argue you saw what we saw. Because you didn't say there was no there wasn't this there was no feminist agenda. No, you said there was no explicit feminism, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. It's girl boss, it's black girl boss feminism ran all over this movie. Stop it, right? I'm not. Look, Victor, I'm just gonna read the Black Panther part. I'm not gonna do that. I think she's cute, actually. I didn't like them hair, bro. Them haircuts need to go. The hair, bruh. I, I, I. Look, I am for human beings, black people in particular, including black women, to be able to play out their full range of humanity, right? With the pluses and the minuses that come with it. But it's interesting to me to see black women rail against their portrayal in media and then not. I mean, this is some of what was made fun of with um Captain Marvel, right? When she returned with that kind of butch haircut, and you saw it with Letitia Wright in this movie, that kind of butch haircut, and especially when they had her with the braids and then the shaved sides, and it was like that's what the that's what the young dudes are doing with their hair. Why do we have the sister with her with the super butch haircut? I don't see straight women, straight black women walking around with that haircut when she first started fighting Namor. That hair, who what straight woman y'all see walking around with that haircut? Unless y'all gonna tell me something about Shuri that I don't know, right? Because the only I don't see any straight women, even in real life, with that haircut. The shaved sides with the braids on top. That's I only see dudes rocking around with that haircut, right? We're black men. We're used to seeing sisters with the shave head. We're used to seeing sisters like all type of with when one side shaved and their hair long, right for 3/4 of their head. All type of haircuts. But this one haircut or the two, because they even when she was at the spoiler alert, when she was on the beach at the end, the haircut they had her in, I'm like, bro, I don't see any straight black women with that haircut, right? And I'm in South Florida around just hordes of different women, different races, different skin tones, shapes, everything across the board, sexuality when they come to women, black women in particular. But y'all show me all the straight black women that are walking around with the haircut they gave the sister in Black Panther, especially when she donned the outfit, right? So I'm just saying, like, you know, if if FD is saying, there was nothing wrong with this movie, and well, he didn't say that, but this was in black male erasure. I mean, they had the sister in the most butch haircut. That okay, all right, alrighty, okay, okay, all right, right. That was a super butch haircut, bro. Number one. Number two. Namor came off way more kick-ass to like everyone, right? To like everyone, right? And for you, FD, and this is why FD, if you're gonna try to pull the brothers away from this from the Black Manosphere, supposedly like you said before, right? Um, this is not really a good job of it. I mean, when you tell them, no, no, you ain't see what you thought you saw, right? Yes, we understand, right? Chadwick passed. They had to hurry up and scramble. They didn't recast. We get it because some of what FD was saying is true. Okay, but you're not gonna pretend like you ain't see what we saw. This was black. This was BLM the movie, right? This was Woman King 2.0. One nation of color go against another nation of color, but they cool with the white dude. CIA white dude. I'm just saying, right? But we supposed to pretend like we didn't see that. I don't know. And this is gonna continue to be a major issue when you gaslight men, black men in particular. Yeah, you ain't see what y'all are overreacting. Y'all are reaching. You didn't see what you thought you saw. Don't believe your lying eyes. Really? Like I said, the women could play with, and believe it or not, I set the bar so damn low. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. But we're not gonna act like this wasn't black girl boss feminism. Absent black men, literally a movie called Black Panther, which was originally about black men. Literally, this movie was every supporting cast of Black Panther. Literally, that's what it was about. And I guess that's why you have to emphasize the Wakanda forever because it was about everything but Black Panther. And yes, we know that Shuri dons the uniform even in the comics. Okay, we get it. Yes. Okay. Jose and Communita forever. Right? So listening to FD say that, it's like, bro, he can't keep on insulting people's intelligence like this. This was Girl Boss Feminism, the movie. Black Girl Boss Feminism, the movie. Right? And nobody's saying that black women can't kick ass and in any of that. But look, the, like you did you watch the same movie I watched? I mean, I know we're gonna have different perspectives. You're the academic, but did you watch the same movie I watched? You didn't see what I saw? No, no, not at all. Or did you see what I saw? Read and saw some of the think pieces from different black men and black women about the portrayal of black women and the absence of black men in this movie, and you thought that didn't matter, or that they were overreacting, or it was a reach. And you end your video by saying, spoiler alert, everyone. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. That M'Baku was king at the end. And like, yeah, after getting knocked on his ass, right? Okay, moving along. Moving along. Moving along. Moving along. All right. Wait a minute. Spainman says, I just left comment on Karen Hunter channel um about this, where they were making it like the complaints aren't warranted, and that's why I can't do her show anymore. I mean, Karen Hunter is a hit or miss for me all the time. Like, right? Certain times I see her and I'm like, okay, that's not bad, right? And then other times I see her, I'm like, mm, I don't know, right? Especially when she has the brother on, the professor. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Jesus Christ, how did I forget his? This is this should be so embarrassing because I've watched so much of his stuff before. Oh, y'all know who I'm talking about. The brother that she has on, like, thank you, Greg Carr. Thank you, Dr. Greg Carr. Thank you, Clutch. Clutch and Stick. Thank you, brother. Thank you. You already know, yo. This. Thank you. The fact that I forgot, I'm embarrassed. Yeah. So, uh, yes. Thank you, guys. But yeah, so Karen, she's a hit or miss for me. Okay, that's cool. You know what? We're not supposed to agree with everything, and I'm gonna go check that out now that you said that, Spain Man. I'm gonna go check it out. Also, I'm probably gonna be annoyed, but thanks for giving me the warning, so that when I go check it out, I can mentally prepare myself to be rubbing on my temples while I watch it. Right. Oh, and if you want to see somebody I know they Black history and their African history, whoo, Professor Greg Carr, that man is like a walking encyclopedia. Like, it's like you, although sometimes some of his perspectives, I'm like, I don't know, but knowledge, oh, I don't know who, I don't know who is on his level, right? Like, damn, they're god tier information, right? It's crazy, right? Once again, I don't know. I don't agree with perspectives all the time. Once again, we're human beings. That was never gonna happen. But the info and the way he's able to like snap and bring it up, like that, I admire that, right? I admire when people know so much and they can bring it up and reference it and like names and dates and events and historical facts and book titles and all of that. Like, that's why I admire BGS. Like, I admire people that can do that, right? Because I have a certain level of knowledge also, but sometimes I don't remember names, I don't remember dates necessarily, or I have to paraphrase something because I don't remember the quote exactly. But Dr. Carr, whew, all right. Right? Jeez. Right. Clutch and Stick said he's got a law degree too. Heard of Africana studies at head of Africana studies at Howard University. See, that would explain a lot. That would explain a whole lot, right? And thank you for that, Clutch. So, moving along. one of the, would y'all call him a founding member? I would, but he doesn't claim it. But Sergeant Willie Pete, I was gonna say Doc, Sarge Willie Pete, um, speaking about the gender war industrial complex. I watched that video a couple nights ago, and I agree. I agree that some make crazy money off of it. They keep it going because it's lucrative for them. I would like to remind Sergeant Willie Pete that one of the people on the woman's side, that dude that you brought into the space, I'm just saying, oops, right? And you helped to unleash a goddamn plague on this planet. I'm just saying. I ain't gonna beat you up too much about it, right? But I agree with Spain Man so much. Spain Man says, if there's one thing this space has taught me, besides hating black women, joking, is that there is so much I need to read up on, and it feels like there's not enough time to get it all in. Bro, look, it's between reading and watching things. Spain Man, when I tell you my YouTube, so this is how I do it, right? I'll click on a bunch of videos that I want to watch, and then I'll go in my history and just watch them or listen to them while I'm at work or while I'm driving to work if I'm not, doing a stream or something like that. But it's so much that I end up losing them. I don't get to like not I don't get to like almost any of them. It's so, and I'm not just talking about like Black Manosphere content. I'm talking about like everything, right? I'm trying to keep up with what's going on in Ukraine. I'm trying to keep up with Biden and Xi speaking. I'm trying to keep up with I was trying to keep up with the Brazilian election, all of it, right? There's so much, and it's like you can't you can't keep up, right? The what's going on in Iran right now, and I can barely keep up, bro. I can barely keep what's going on in Haiti right now. Well, I got a cheat code for Haiti. I could speak to my dad about it, right? But it's so hard to keep up, right? It's it's so hard to keep up. It's so difficult to keep up. Then you got your pop culture stuff. Then I'm trying to keep up with all my car stuff. Obviously, you know, keep up with all my you know car automobile journalists and what they're reviewing. So it's pretty difficult. But so Sarge Willie Pete speaks about the gender war industrial complex, and he has some a great point. There are people that are keeping this alive because now it's become lucrative. Not even now, but it's lucrative for them to keep the BS going. And I kind of alluded to that maybe a month ago or a little bit over a month ago when I was speaking about how weird Chrissy is and how she was like chastising some of her subscribers for talking about it but not being about it when it comes to the swirler thing. Also, not only just Chrissy, but Chrissy, Paris, and Yanni. Well, Chrissy and Paris mainly kind of speaking to their subscribers like, don't let these murders, these high profile murders of black women at the hands of white men, allegedly, deter you from dating out anyway. These men are going to use this as scare tactics. And I just remember thinking to myself, and I kind of spoke about it a little bit, like, y'all are weird. Y'all just want to keep the BS going. You don't care about the numbers on the ground. All white men could divorce their black wives tomorrow, and y'all would still be like, don't stop chasing after them women. Don't stop going after them ladies. Like, it doesn't. And I think that is when you know it's really an agenda or really like some weird psychosis that's going on, is when it doesn't matter what the facts on the ground are, whether they change tomorrow, whether they stay the same, whether it's not what you thought it was, they still continue with the same rhetoric. It's still F black men today, tomorrow, and forever, right? That's yeah. So I agree with Sarge on that. There is money to be made. I mean, like, you know, these women's channels are huge, 200,000 and 300,000 subscribers, right? Some 50 something thousand, 100 and something thousand, two something, 300 and something thousand subscribers. When they do live streams, easily 1,500, 1,200, 2,000, 2,500 people watching, right? So I think Paris Milan got just around the same amount of subscribers as FD Signifier. And all Paris do is talk about how many black men ain't ish. Or some type black man is chasing after some underage black girl. Now she on the kidnap and stalker porn type thing. Right? And how it was I so agree with Sarge Willie P on this. It was I think I should have made a video about this too. How weird Paris Milan comes off when she says black women are black male identified, and just because this man is a black male man and he's a celebrity, y'all give him like points and say he's more attractive than he actually is. I want people to understand what Paris is saying here. She's saying that just because a black man is a black man, black women are saying that this whatever famous black man is attractive when that black man really isn't. He's just black. Oh man. Just saying that hurts my head. Um bro. So you say black so what you're really saying is that black women find black men attractive and that's a problem. You just did a verbose way, you just, of saying black women find black men attractive that you don't find attractive. And yeah, and she uses the brother that's gonna play king as like her prime example of that, right? Like you're legitimately weird. And like I continue to say, and I will continue to say it, y'all remember, and I want to say this because Paris in particular is the sister that she's telling y'all she's gonna run off with the bag. Paris isn't even lying to y'all. She's not saying it exactly how I just said it, but Paris is telling y'all she's gonna run away with the bag. She's using you and your anger and your rage and your resentment, right? At black men, your feeling of loneliness, your feeling of rejection, of being overlooked, and she's using that as seed money to start some type of business, and she's gonna switch up her content or she's gonna create another page. And I think she already has the other page where she does more black women and luxury content, and every once in a while she'll give y'all that rage porn stuff. Yeah, thank you, I am Wolf. Yeah, Jonathan Majors. Yeah, Paris Milan was saying how ugly his face is and whatever, and yeah, he got a good body, but he's ugly. And look at his nose, and look at bro, y'all already know what that is. That whole petty black girl, you know, key. This is funny. It's funny to play the whole, and she said it like y'all let black men do this to us all the time. Y'all let them pick us apart, and they get to talk about us like this. I told y'all that cosmic justice payback crap that they on. allows them to feel like they're justified in speaking to us any kind of way because black men do it too. All they got to say is that a black man did it first or does it more, and they feel justified in saying and doing whatever. Being just as reckless and insulting and belittling and mean as they want. Right? You know? Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, everyone. But yeah, so yeah, it's K dot says Z, they divestors don't want you, but they don't want other women to want you either. Yeah, well, of course. That's the same thing they say about us, by the way. That's the same thing they say about us also. That yeah. Because they want to see you miserable. It's a bunch of get back thing. It's a bunch of you're not kissing my rear end. You didn't build me Wakanda. You overlooked me in high school or in college, right? I don't. This is for these particular women that think like this. They don't want you to. They don't want you to go sell out in the sunset with whatever non-black woman, or maybe even a black woman from the diaspora. They don't want that, right? They want you to stay. They want to be able to see you, and they want to defecate on you. They want you. They want you to be some bum, or have a lowly job, be a gas station attendant, while she pull up her white man or non-black man pulls up in that big ass Benz, throws the money on the counter at you, throw the money in your face, right? Or pulls out his black card and says you owe 100 on this in this big ass in this G wagon or something, in this Lambo truck or something. You get a glimpse of her and her lavish, lifestyle, and she's walking around with her red bottom heels. They paint a movie in their minds of defecating on people. I'm not joking. Right? They hope one day the pretty girl from high school is the restaurant is their waitress at the restaurant and gets to see them with the good looking rich dude, white, black, Latino, or otherwise. Right? They paint these little movies in their mind of defecating on the men that didn't find them attractive, or the boys at the time that didn't find them attractive, the women that or the girls at the time that everyone found attractive. They paint these little scenarios in their mind. Right? And much of the reason why you see these particular people are so angry is because they don't get to live it out. Right? The vast majority of them, and I mean the vast majority of them, don't get to live it out and never will. Right? Even if they do come up on the lifestyle, they're just never in the scenario to defecate on that same woman that the guys used to like. Sometimes not even on the same type of woman. Right? It's weird. Clutch says that's called having machinations. It's a pathetic notion. And Charles says divestors overestimate themselves, underestimate men. They really do. They really do. And I think as much as they worship the ground that white men walk on, they underestimate white men's intuition and the fact that he knows and he could smell the anti-blackness in you. And that might be a turn on for him, because then he knows you're going to be air quotes loyal, or so he thinks. Or it might be a turn off, but he sees it also, right? What he decides to do with that is a different conversation, but he sees it also. And that's the part I don't think they understand. They don't understand how problematic it is that he knows you have an issue with black men. Whether he even tries to manipulate that, right, is a different conversation. But the fact that he knows you're dealing with something dangerous, right? You're dealing with something dangerous. For those of you that saw the video, and I'm actually gonna make a video about this. I saw it when it first was posted, and I other people were posting it, so I gave it some time. But I actually want to do a video about this. The comedian that made fun of the fact, white comedian that made fun of the fact that he was dating a black woman, and she was saying how great it is that she's dating him, and yeah, because black men ain't ish. And he spoke to his black friend about it, his black male friend about it. He's like, you know what you got to do, right? You got to cheat on her for the culture, right? So even the white guys are busting y'all out about how crazy y'all talk about black men, right? So there's that, and so Sarge Willie Pete speaks about the Black Gender War, and I'm just reminded of certain PhDs who, at my current count, brought in at least four of these women. A certain notable person, black man, that we could credit with Paris, some of Cynthia G. All right. We could credit this person with bringing us some of the most anti-black men hating women. I ain't gonna say his name, but y'all know who he is. All right. He used to feature them on his channel. Patriarch guys, I'm just saying. I'm not gonna say the name. I'm just saying. Just chasing after the bag. You don't interview these people. You don't see how they think about the opposite sex. What they think about you. Just this person is bubbling in the streets. I can see they're going places. Let me just I'm just trying to monetize them as much as I can for as long as I can. 4 years later, right? And now we got these extremely sexist, anti-black man misandrists walking around. Right? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Extremely sexist. Extremely misandrist. And get off on it too. Y'all, I'm not suggesting y'all do this for your own mental health. But if y'all hear Paris Malone talk, you don't it's it's difficult to say in words, because you gotta, and I gotta say it like this, you gotta feel that, you gotta listen to her and feel the what's the word, how much she gets off on this, right? She gets off on speaking about black men this way. The sass is just oozing out of her now. Same thing with real talk with Yanni, right? They love it. They bathe in it. They stew in it. right? They stew in that juice of of misandry. And once again, the fuel is always, well, black men did it first, right? And I guess that's the difference because there's only so far you can go with black women did it first before everyone in society, including even in the black community, say, nah, bro, you can't, nope, you can't pull that no more. Nope, 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 nope. But black women could take that to the grave, right? And so that's gonna continue to fuel some of this gender war. And I don't even know if we're really on that. I truly think more and more black men are becoming indifferent, truly. And that's like the worst outcome for black women because it reminds me of the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Y'all remember when they both showed up at the house and they started shooting at each other and fighting each other, and at the very end, Brad Pitt put his gun down and Angelina did not put her gun down. She wanted to continue to fight. If y'all remember the movie, I remember Brad Pitt put his gun down, but Angelina still wanted. She said, "Come on," right? She still wanted to go. That to me is the current position of black men and black women. Now, obviously, it's a movie and they continue and they, have sex and blah blah blah, and then they decide to wage war and blah blah blah, right? Charles says, if black men ain't shit, then why are you cheating on your white boyfriend with one? Like like the world doesn't know how you act and treat your men. It's not winter. It's Arctic blast. It's an Arctic blast. Man, look, when black women still live on the planet, right? Understand where I'm going with this. They know to a certain extent that they're being placated. But they've been being placated so long that they've bought into some of the hype, right? So they truly think non-black people don't see what's going on because they've convinced themselves because they've been being placated so long. Even though they're living the consequences of buying into the hype and not caring what happens to black boys and black men and chasing after Miss Karen, I would say Miss Karen, Karen, Becky, and Miss Ann ideal. They're living the consequences of it, but they can't come off of it, right? So we're in the winter. We're in it. We're in it. For younger Xers, millennials, and the oldest of Gen Z, the boomers are they're out of here, right? But we're in the winter. We're in it. And even in understand what I'm saying. Going to what Charles said about the Arctic blast. We're in Antarctica. We're here, right? We're here. And even though we're here, South freaking Pole, right? How many degrees below zero and getting colder? They're still talking crazy. Do you like, and I think it's because the particular content creators, they're making money off of this. This is going right back to what Sarge said about the gender war industrial complex. So they're making money off of this. And I keep on saying, but their subscribers, many of them are in their mid 20s still living home with their parents. And I always bring that up, and whenever I say that, it's to not, because I'm a black person and I get it, and I grew up poor and working class, so I get it. It's not to make fun of those people for being in that situation. It's to say, why are you talking crazy about black men and you're literally a 27-year-old living at home with your parents? Right? And even if you're a college grad, okay, and but you make a little 32, 35, 40 grand a year, but you're still struggling, right? So because these content creators are probably knocking on the door of some $100,000+ a year off of making this content, they continue to make it. So they're not necessarily feeling the winter, is what I'm saying. But not even some. I would argue most of their subscribers are feeling the winter, though. Most of their subscribers are feeling the winter, and the only answer they got for them, the only answer Yanni has for them, Paris has for them, Chrissy has for them, is date out. Date out or date up. So, baller black dude or any type of non-black dude that's not the dustiest, and even then they might let that person, that non-black man, slide. So we're in Antarctica right now, and the temperature is dropping, and they're still talking crazy because, once again, those content creators don't necessarily feel the winter. They're making their money. They're making bank. And for years now, because Chrissy and Paris and Yanni, they're not new. Cynthia G's not new. So they're making bank for multiple years now. And so there's no reason for them to stop with this content. None. As a matter of fact, the colder it gets, the more delusional they're going to insist that their subscribers and followers are. Because it's not about anything real or logical. It's about selling you the dream. Right? K. Dot says, I've noticed there's more black women who never dated black men but only date white men her whole life, starting to come up in the woodwork, coming up in the woodworks, jumping on the hate black men bandwagon. I mean, that's the culture right now, right? Well, that's been the culture, but that's the culture. That's the culture. It's some of it is virtue signaling, some of it is trauma bonding, right? If you're in the hair salon long enough, even if you and your husband have a great relationship, you keep on hearing these stories about how horrible black men are. Guess what? So these sisters are they don't have no romantic interaction with black men. They never have. So they don't have a heartbreak from black men. But they stay in the spaces where black women don't do anything but talk crap about black men. So guess what she's gonna do? Imagine that. Your first crush was a white guy. You grew up in the white burbs. You've only dated non-black men, but you have all this resentment towards black men. You're a white racist woman, chocolate dipped. And that's okay, because that's what you always wanted to be anyway. But that also shows how fragile you are psychologically, because it's that easy to manipulate you. GC said, demolish this edible and made it to Mr. Z Live. Hashtag nice. Right? True, Spainman said, and FD would have us believe they're only a tiny fraction, but they have several 100K sub channels. You see what I'm saying? And we're not even talking about the smaller channels that have 20,000 here, 40,000 there, 50,000. No, 100+ thousand dollar channel. I'm gonna say $100+ thousand, 100+ thousand subscriber channels. And yes, there's some overlap, but not all overlap. And you have women that all they do is consume this form of, I guess, entertainment, right? All they do is consume. That's why when I end off, I tell you, go watch Brothers in the Black Manosphere, but not only Black Manosphere content. Go watch some other stuff about what's going on in the world, so you can know. Number one, and so not your entire world is not about how black women ain't ish. That's not real. If your entire world is black women ain't ish, that's why I got so annoyed with and I went in on Lexus Exodus. I'm a content creator too. I'm not gonna tell y'all, hey, black woman ain't ish. Go find you the closest Latina or white girl and go lay up with her because that's the best you'll ever be able to do in your life. And then when a couple of y'all come up missing, then I want to start copping pleas. Now I feel some type of way. No, Mr. Z refuses. Right. So yeah, there's a shout out to Sarge Willie Pete. Yeah, there's a gender war industrial complex, and people making money off of this, and they keep the crap going because that's all they want to talk about because that's where the money is because that's where people's emotions are, and it's the culture war. It's the larger culture war that's not just the black, not just the black culture war between class and gender and sexuality and whatnot. No, 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 no. The entire West, mainly specifically talking about America, is dealing with a culture war because the elites took all the goddamn money off the table. So now you just punching the person next to you because you don't got nothing, they don't got nothing. And the only way you feel better about your station in life is by punching the other person right next to you. Because ain't nobody got the gumption to go at the elite. Because actually, low key, high key, you want to be the elite. You want to be the one pulling strings and manipulating everything. Right? Y'all notice these sisters ain't having no conversation about fairness or equality or any of that. How unjust the system is, none of it. None of it. The economic structure, was going on politically, no. As a matter of fact, like I told you, Paris Milan swears by this capitalist shit because she's making money off of monetizing black women's sadness, loneliness, rage, anger, ignorance of the environment. She ain't trying to change this. Gender war industrial complex. She's not trying to change this. Right? They're not talking about any of that over there. That's why I always bring that up to y'all. They're not having a conversation about none of this. That's why Paris freaking put her foot in her mouth when she was talking about what was going on in Ukraine in the beginning. That's why she put her foot. That let you. She don't know what the hell she was talking about. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. She don't know what she was talking about. You had white Ukrainians and other random white Americans in her comments telling she don't know what. And I still have some of those things screenshot in my phone. I just didn't screenshot the thumbnail that in her comment, her original comment. And I'm beating myself up about that. And that was how many months ago now? Thank you, TJ. TJ Honda says, great work of streaming, Mr. Z. Keep spreading the knowledge on what's happening on the ground, real world. Salute. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Oh, oh, brother, this is um Thermocat, Thermocat. Like, spell that out. Spell your name out for me so I can make sure to pronounce it right the next time. Why would she change? She is a capitalist in a system of white supremacy. You see what I'm saying? Well, according to the women like Paris, they shouldn't have to lift a finger anyway because war is amongst men only. Yeah, go tell the women of Ukraine that, the one that were running. Or the ones that are still victims, because the bombs don't care. Those bombs don't care. You home and fall on your house, that's your ass. And I know I should say the bombs, but you know, I'm talking to my brothers, I'm talking to black people, and I don't think I should have to be that politically correct and my language has to be perfect right now. I really don't want to be that guy right now. Right? Okay, so I said it right, Termocat? Okay. Yeah, so that lets you know, and that's a prime example. See, you don't know what's going on. You use what's going on between Russia and Ukraine as an opportunity to go at black men, and then you got checked by white people. Go figure. You got checked by white people to the point where you deleted it because you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on, and you opened your big mouth to use it as an opportunity to say, you see, black men ain't this. You see these Ukrainians, they defending and da da da. And white people, white women, oh, not just even white men, white women came into your comments and said, you don't know what you're talking about. Those men don't want to be there. They're being enlisted, they're being forced to. The same white women that you say black men would do anything for, the same white women you say, oh, y'all man defend y'all no matter what, right? The same white women came into your comments to tell you you don't know what you're talking about. And white men told you you didn't know what you were talking about also. Because all you, the reason why I asked you guys to look at things not just manosphere related, black women related, is so your lens is not always the black women ain't ish lens. Their lens that they see through is the black men ain't ish lens. So everything gets seen through that. They filter everything through that. Black men ain't ish is that's the lens. That's and it's stuck to their face. I don't view the world through the black women ain't ish lens. That's why I'm able to call out racism the way I am, classism the way I am, talk about stuff that have nothing to do with that, politics, history, because my lens isn't black women ain't ish. Starting from there. GC says mental illness. Right? Oh, Spain Man. Oh, they're all doing that now. Spain Man says, seems like Paris often reaches just to come up with content. Look, thank y'all for the dollars y'all give me. Thank you. But I think their channels are so big, and I don't think they have like like 9 to 5s anymore. I don't think many of them do anymore. They might, but I don't think so. Right? And there is somebody in this space. I'm not gonna bust them out. That I know, I know their homegirl's husband. I know him personally. This person has a way smaller channel than um Paris and Yanni and all of them. And she quit her job, what she was doing. I'm never gonna tell y'all who it is. She quit her job and she has a way small because she was making more than enough to cover all her bills and her expenses and actually have a couple of nice things. So when I see her subscriber numbers and I see their subscriber numbers, I know they're probably not working their 9 to 5. There's no way they're working their 9 to 5 anymore. And so now they just come up with stuff just to content, like you said, to keep this going. Just keep on going. They are reaching. And I think that's another reason why Paris probably wants to start talking about something else before the floor falls from under this constant gender warring online thing. Because I think eventually the floor is going to fall from under this. Right? And she wants to talk about black women in luxury. I mean, now that you can make money off of infinitely, right? I couldn't get the word out. Infinitely. There we go. because that's just selling lottery dreams. Joe, speak about it. Joe says they're gonna start drawing war lines, right? So they're gonna continue with the BS as long as it's lucrative, but the floor will fall from under this. Let's see how right BGS is in that essentially them starving is gonna make the, is gonna wake them up a little bit. I don't know. This is the one thing I tend to disagree with BGS on, and not all. So I want to be clear because I do think he's right about some, but I think some of them are gonna freeze to death outside just to prove a point, right? I think some of them are gonna freeze to death just to prove a point to themselves and to you as a black man. I hate you so much, I won't even let you save me. Ooh, I said that, right? I said that. I think I think for some of them, not all. Now that one, I don't think it's most. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't think most people, definitely most women, got it in them to do that. But I think it's gonna be a few more than you think. That says, I hate you so, their actions will show it. I hate you so much, I won't even give you the gratification of letting you save me. Right? Right? I think some women generally, westernized women, black women in particular, have been so hopped up on the men ain't ish, black men ain't ish, they're the worst thing on planet Earth ever, that yeah, they'll freeze. We're in Antarctica right now. They're about, and when we say freeze to death as a metaphor, what that means literally is I will be in my parents' home until I'm 50 something. It means I will I will maybe not have a mode of transportation in a city that doesn't have mass transportation, and so be it. It means I will go without sex for years, maybe. It means I will go without love or intimacy, not just the sex, for years, maybe. It means that I will dress unappealing to the male eye. It means I will continue to consume more and more black men ain't ish content. It means I might even okay, yeah, I might have sex. I will let myself be the bust down to any, how Charles say it, cheddar bob white dude. It mean all of that. It means I might even eat being homeless, right? It means all of that. All of the above, right? If they have a child with you, it means I will destroy our kid just for you to watch as our daughter becomes a little me, or our son becomes the man that you never wanted him to be. I will undermine you every chance I get. It means the older black woman that was on the Iyanla Van Zant show that lied and said her ex-husband touched on the kids. And when the story came out that she lied, she looked him dead in the face and said, "Well, if you knew that wasn't the truth, then why didn't you do anything to stop it?" Hmm. I do have an answer for that. I just can't say it online right now because I don't think I would have a channel. The man's better than me. That's all I know. I'll say that. The man's better than me. Clutch Sid works for me as I drive by in one of my 3 sports cars to my house in a gated community. Oh man, clutch. Oh, shout out to you, clutch. As a matter of fact, I do have a car event happening tomorrow. Actually, what time is it? Actually, later on today. Well, I guess that'll be tomorrow tonight. It's Friday. It's technically Friday right now, but I don't be counting it like. Okay, I'm weird. I don't really count it until the sun comes up. All right. So I know we're on the other side of 12 o'clock. Well, at least on the East Coast, we're on the other side of 12 o'clock. But I don't count it until the sun comes up, right? That's when I'm like, oh, okay, it's officially a new day, right? So, yeah, but so saying that tomorrow or Friday, later on today or tonight, um, there is a car event and I might go, but I do work and the car event it doesn't have an ending time. So if I get off early enough, um, I got a car cover over the Z right now. I'll take it off from under the car cover. It's already washed, and I'll go. One of my friends is going, and I told him like let me know. So I'll let him know when I get to the crib, and I will see if I'm going. Right? Yeah. Clutch, let me find out what cars you own. Y'all know I got a Z, so but um yeah. So yeah, it's the I like that Sarge actually put that out. The gender war industrial complex. That's actually a pretty good concept. And yes, there are people that are, making crazy money off of it. Um, and they're not gonna stop. There's no reason for them to stop. This is not just supplemental income for them. This is their income now. This is their money. It's not just a couple $100 extra a month. No, they're making their. Let me see. I'm trying to do some math in my head. These people could possibly be breaking the door of six, seven, 10, maybe 15 plus $1,000 a month off of YouTube alone, right? Clutch says he has a '06 Mustang GT, so that's the V8. He has a V6 Mustang convertible, and he has a Camaro hardtop and a 2000 Maxima. Okay. The 2000 Maxima is that's the one with the blackened tail lights? Is that the one with the before they swapped in the one where post facelift they put the 3.5 in there, the VQ35, and like pre facelift is the 3.0, the V, was it the VQ30 or the V, is that the VG30 if I'm not mistaken? I can't remember. I think the 2000 is that body style, right? Where when they gave it the facelift, it came with the 3.5, and but before the facelift was the 3.0. All right. Okay, yeah. You're right. You're right. Okay, so yeah, that is the one I'm talking about. Yeah, I wasn't able to come up on a SE. This is the 3.0 222 horsepower. Yeah, so that's the body style where they gave it the ice lights with the facelift. I actually low key want that Maxima. The Maxima you're talking about, but I want the facelift one that came with the 250 horsepower um VQ35. Yeah, that's my favorite body style Maxima. And then the older one that was in Fast and Furious One, that what's his name drove, the one that Paul Walker beat the crap out of, right? Yeah, so that's the one I'm talking about, the 255 horsepower. Yeah, that was the one before the '04, '03, '04 Maximas that are shaped like a egg, right? Yeah. But even though that same egg-shaped Maxima had the same engine, but they bumped it up another 10 horsepower to like 265. And that was the last generation of manual Maximas, by the way. Yeah. No, not Dom Toretto. Um Dom's homeboy that had the blue Maxima in Fast and the Furious one. The one that was living in Brazil, the one that died in which Fast and the Furious was it where he died? Was that like 4 or 5 or something? But remember in the first Fast and Furious, he had a blue Maxima. So that's my second favorite body style Maxima. Well, actually, hmm, because the Maxima from about 2009, 2010, 2009, when they came back with the name four door sports car, I really like that body style. Oh, by the way, the Maxima's done. There will be, I think there might be going EV, but I think either this year or next year is the last a year of Maxima, and then they're either going EV or they're gonna retire the nameplate for a little while. Vince, thank you, Detroit. Yes, Vince, yeah, and it was Fast Five. Thank you, Detroit. Yeah, yep. But okay, moving along. So now that we have the car conversation, good segue. What y'all think about this whole EV revolution with cars? I'm not exactly sold yet, right? I'm not, especially with what came out with the F-150, where when you with the F-150 Lightning, when you start putting things to it and start using it as a real truck and trying to tow with it, the range goes to the shitter, right? That's a good question, bro. What happened to Leon from Fast and the Furious, right? That's a good question. And Leon had that goddamn yellow R33 Skyline, which is my freaking dream car. The R33 has always been my dream car, even though everybody swears by the 32 or the 34. I get it. But the R33 has always been my dream car, and I'm mad that now that it's legal in America, it's a goddamn $60,000 car. So even I, I don't even have any hopes of ever owning it. Right? It's just out of my reach. It's just gone. It's just gone. Right? GC says we're a long way from that. The infrastructure ain't there yet. I agree. I agree. With the electric vehicles, yeah. But there's some cool electric vehicles coming out. Shout out to Hyundai, bruh. I don't know. I think it's Albert Bierman. I think so. My apologies. I think last time when I was speaking about Albert Bierman, this is the designer at Hyundai right now. I think I said he was from Audi. He's not from Audi. He's from BMW. Right? He's from BMW. And Albert Bierman, he was with BMW for years. I think for even a couple decades. But yeah, so Hyundai poached him, and he's one of the reasons why your more modern looking Hyundais, I think maybe even Kias, are looking nicer and nicer. And I would still rather have the Kia Stinger over a Beamer 3 Series right now. Even M340i, I would rather have a Stinger over, even though the 340i is just way better of a sports sedan. But the Kia Stinger just makes up for it and looks to me by far. Plus, the coupe, the four series coupes with them goddamn beaver teeth, they're supposed to be kidney grills. Those don't look like kidney grills. Those look like Ratatat's goddamn Pokemon teeth. That's what they look like. Car talk for all of you. Hopefully everybody's still listening. I don't know how many people are listening. Like, damn, Z, you just went to car talk. It was on my list of things to talk about. Y'all know, right? Right. But yeah, the new grills on the BMWs. Could somebody call? And from my understanding, actually, before I even start making too much funnies, um, from my understanding, the reason why BMW went huge grill isn't only because it's what's in style, it's because the market is in China now, right? Like the Chinese are killing the market right now and buying up all the Beamers. So they're they're not designing cars for, let me say that again. It's not that they're not designing cars for the Western market, which means America. It's that the Chinese are so pivotal now that the Chinese are kind of dictating what's in style, and the Chinese like them some big gaudy grills. And so BMW is giving you more beaver teeth grill cars. Even though it's supposed to be kidney grill, and this is their new take on their kidney grill, I just see rat-a-tat goddamn beaver teeth from Pokemon. That's what I see. Right? But it's these new Beamers with they damn grills. Um, what was I watching? And they said, I was watching something and they said, you don't got to be worried about finding a bird in your grill. You got to be worried about finding a pterodactyl in that motherfucker. Oh, that shit killed me. Oh, it was shot, and I'm gonna share his page. It's the Black Car Guru. Black Car Guru was reviewing the new 7 Series. That shit's hideous. It's fucking ugly. The new 7 Series. Shout out to all you baller brothers that's gonna get it anyway because it's a Beamer. The shit's ugly. It's fucking ugly. Okay. That's how I felt about the Panamera when they first came out. That shit was ugly as fuck too. Hunchback of Notre Dame ugly. But the new 7 Series that's coming out, and he was like, when you walk out, you don't got to worry about a bird being stuck in your grill. You got to worry about a pterodactyl being stuck in that motherfucker. I died. That shit was funny. Shout out to the Black Car Guru, right? That shit, it's true. Look, wait until y'all see the new 7 Series. I know some of y'all gonna like it because y'all like big body cars. Cool. That shit's ugly, bro. Right? And looks are in the eyes of a beholder. Yes, that's true, right? But I do judge when it comes to cars and what y'all like. Like Charles, look at y'all funny when y'all like certain women. I look at y'all funny when y'all like certain cars, and I'm counting myself in that too because I still maintain that as I pay the Z off, when I get to a certain point, I'm gonna start looking for something else as a daily to replace my Maxima, and the Juke Nismo RS is towards the top of the list. Y'all heard right. I said it. Not you, Z. You be going in on women and these crossover SUVs and you want that ugly ass shit? Yeah, I said it. Nigga, you just said the 7 Series was ugly. I know. You sound like a hypocrite. I know. Yeah, not the regular Juke. Don't do that to me. Don't do that. No, Eartha Kitt back in the day, I said. But yeah, Thermocat said, Juke, wow. Detroit said the new Hummer. Bro, I've seen, I live in South Florida, so we around, I'm not a baller, but we got ballers all over this shit. I've seen 3 already. The first one I saw was in Broward County. That's the county above Dade County, above Miami, guys. So Fort Lauderdale is in Broward County. So for those of you that know where Fort Lauderdale is, that's in Broward County. So I was in Broward County, and I was in the car with my girl, and I was like, babe, look, and because it was coming past us, and then it made a U-turn, and you could actually. So the thing with the Hummer that's really dope is, by the way, it's fucking huge. It's like, pause. It's fucking huge. Like, I'm doing the Trump hands right now. That shit's huge. Number one. Number two, you actually see the back wheels turn because it has 4-wheel steering. So you actually saw the back wheels turning also. So that's pretty dope. GC said Eartha Kitt back in the day looked like E.T. Right? Yo, that shit with the Hummer weigh 9,000 pounds. Fucking Jupiter. That's what that is. For car weight, I don't know how to explain it to like your average. Okay, let me give okay. Chargers, the heaviest Chargers are the Hellcats, right? And they're tipping the scales at like 4,300 ish pounds. Okay, the Hummer H1s, the original Hummers, right? The heaviest ones were like 7,000 and some odd pounds. Even your F2 and F350s are tipping the scales at like 7,000-ish, 8,000-ish pounds. So for the new Hummer to be 9,000 pounds, like it's Jupiter. Like I said, it's fucking Jupiter. right? This shit's a fucking boat. It's a fast boat because that big bitch could do zero to 60 in 3 seconds. I don't know how to explain to y'all how fast that is. I don't know, like, for you to launch a freaking 9,000 pound vehicle that sits high, by the way, that can go off road, for you to launch that from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Let me see. Let me give y'all a comparison. Let me do a standard. Mm, okay, some of your everyday 4 cylinder Camrys, 0 to 60 times be like 6.5 seconds, 7 seconds or something. So what I'm saying is that you could be at the red light and gas it, and the Hummer will do 60 in half. That big boat that was just next to you will do 60 in half, more than half the time you'll do it in your Sentra, in your Camry, right? Clutch was like, it's McLaren fast. It really is. It is McLaren fast. As a matter of fact, that shit is so fast, 0 to 60, that just about all of your favorite supercars from 10 years ago would lose to it a 0 to 60 test. Not all the way top speed, not even maybe 0 to 100, but 0 to 60, some of your favorite supercars, like that shit will beat a Lamborghini Murcielago 0 to 60. Yeah, it's that fast. And remember, we're not talking about a sports car. We're talking about a big ass electric truck SUV thingy. Well, it's not SUV, a truck, thing. Sitting high off the ground, wide as shit, look like a goddamn whale, right? It's essentially like a heavy set person that could outrun Usain Bolt practically. Like, yeah, right? Them shits is ridiculous. That shit is fast as hell. Y'all share, subscribe, hit the super chat for the car chat. Ooh, I like that. Hit the super chat for the car chat. Right? Better you sit Hummers or rolling houses. So, not too far from where I work, there's a yellow Hummer H1. That's in one of the garages, and because I guess he lives in one of the neighboring apartment or condo. I always like I almost always say condo when I mean apartment. But yeah, he lives in one of the neighboring condos, and so he parks in that garage, and I see it all the time. And yeah, them shits is big, right? But the new Hummer is, it's fucking ridiculous. I don't even know how to say it to y'all, like how big that shit is. For any of you that haven't seen it in person, wait until you see that shit. You'll be like, God damn, that's what Z was talking about. If you're not in a lifted fucking truck, a lifted I'm not Durango, but Ram or F Series truck, Ford F Series truck, or a lifted Silverado, yeah, that shit's just gonna be towering over you. But yeah, the car EV revolution, it is interesting. It is interesting to see electric vehicles start to come into their own. Um, y'all remember when we first got the Prius and we were like, ew, right? And now we got we got some cool EVs coming out, fast EVs, the Tesla Plaid, right? The Tesla Model S Plaid, which got a 0 to 60. Like, this is a sedan, y'all. Uh, a sedan with leather and 4 doors and all. That's doing 0 to 60 in what, almost 2 seconds flat? They doing 2 1s and 2 2s, 0 to 60. That's drag car fast. No, the ranting's over already, Chaos. Now we talking car talk, right? Like, the Tesla Model S Plaid is doing 0 to 60 in 2.1, 2.2 seconds. That's like, I don't know how to explain to y'all how fast that is. That's just, it's the ride at the fair that you go into, like, was it the Graviton or the Grav whatever, where you start to slide up on the mat as it starts to spin like a bottle top or something, right? It's like that. Like, that's the type of gravity pushing you back in the seat as it takes off. That's ins. We like I said, not only like the Tesla Model Plaid S is so fast. It's not even hypercar from 10 years ago fast. It's faster than hypercars from today, 0 to 60. Nothing's touching that zero. Even the Bugatti Chiron isn't touching that 0 to 60. The Bugatti Chiron will destroy it later on in the quarter mile or even in the mile, right? But 0 to 60, nothing's touching that. Nothing is touching that. And this is a electric four-door sedan. Klutz said Demonology caught a bad one from someone in a stock plaid. Hellcats are blowing their cars up trying to catch them. Demonology is another brother drag car racer. Demonology got his didn't if I'm not mistaken, Demonology and Dunkmaster raced, right? Didn't Dunkmaster spank Demonology? Right? But yeah, yeah, hey, if you got a Hellcat, leave those. Not even just the Tesla Model S Plaid, the Tesla Model S that came out a little bit before the Plaid. Leave that alone too. As a matter of fact, the one even under that, leave that. All the Tesla Model S's that make 600 and some horsepower. Because I think there's like three fast ones. There's the 600 and something horsepower one. There's the 800 horsepower one. That's the one that came out before the Plaid. And then there's the Plaid. Leave all of those alone if you a Hellcat owner. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Because even the one that makes six something, they're still gonna blow you out for the quarter mile. Because they're all-wheel drive and they're electric. So that's instant power. They're just gonna leave you. Leave them shits alone. Yeah. Dual motors, all-wheel drive. Yeah, leave them shits alone. Stop it. Go mess with the little Tesla Model 3s. And even off the line, they're gonna leave your ass, but hopefully you can hawk it down later on. Right? Oh yeah, Mr. Z knows little car talk. Although to be honest with you, I don't know when it comes to new vehicles, there are some exciting things, but I think the whole car industry is in flux because of EVs coming in, and we don't know if we're gonna go all the way electric. Porsche does have a zero emissions fuel they're working on, so at least for some of us hardcore car enthusiasts, we may not be out the game yet. We might be able to drive our sports cars for forever. Um, if Porsche and I think what other company did they say was also working on a zero emissions fuel? I think Benz and Nissan, or was it Honda? It was either the Koreans or the Japanese. I can't remember, but it wasn't just Porsche. Porsche was working on a zero emissions fuel also, but it wasn't only Porsche. It was a couple of other companies also that's working on zero emissions fuel. So that's going to be good for those of us that actually have like notable cars, sports cars and SUVs of note or like classic trucks. But for everybody else, there's no reason really. If you look at cars as just like a mode of transportation to get from A to B, there's no reason to not to go to EV, especially as the technology gets better and they put more charging posts and they work on the technology to get you out of the charging stations within 5 and 10 minutes. There's no reason for you not to go, especially if you can afford it. There's no reason not to, right? Yeah, Clutch says they got a dual motor Tesla 3 too. There's a ton of Teslas in Southern California. Yeah, the fast Tesla 3 I think has like 450 horsepower, something like that. So yeah, I hate the way that shit looks though. It's shaped like an egg out of this world, right? I don't like the way that the Tesla Model X looks, even though it has the rear doors are gull wing. That's cool. That's a nice gimmick, but that shit's it's shaped like an egg. And I get it, right? Wind tunnel testing, aerodynamics and drag, and you're trying to get it to have a better aerodynamic so that you can cut on. Well, it wouldn't be fuel efficiency, but like you can actually have it cut through the wind better. That way, it has a longer range. I get it. Cool. Still, it's not. I don't know. there's nothing notable about the shape. It's just blah. The Tesla Model 3 literally is shaped like an egg. And then the Model X is shaped like a minivan, but it has cool gull wing doors in the back, right? That's cool, but meh, right? And I guess that's the drawback of wind tunnel testing is that it's almost always going to bring you to like these universal shapes that are good fuel efficiency or like good for like the equivalent of range for electric vehicles. And then even when you're designing sports cars or hypercars, and for those of you that don't know, like, so there's sports cars, supercars, hypercars. Sports cars or your Corvettes, supercars or like some of your Raris and whatever, and hypercars is when you get to like Bugatti level and stuff like that, right? So yeah, the wind tunnel testing pretty much gets you to the same type of look depending on what you're going for. So if you're going for a grip monster, you'll see that a lot of those cars start to, they don't look alike, but they start to somewhat favor each other because now it's all about downforce, hugging the road, being light as possible, um, right? You know, sticking to the road. So like you'll see some of those cars start to look similar-ish. If you're doing top speed, you'll see some of those type of cars look similar-ish, right? If you're going for long range and it's EV, you'll start to see some of those cars look more and more like teardrops, right? This is why you get the Model X that look a certain way, the Model 3 that look a certain way, the Prius that look a certain way, right? Because they're working on how do we cut down on the electric range, or sorry, how do we extend the electric range, um, funny giggity, of these vehicles, right? Yo, those Koenigseggs. I, to be honest, I like. Oh no, I'm not gonna say I like it better than the Bugattis. I put them on the same level. It's just the Koenigseggs are more hairy because they're rear-wheel drive. So you're dealing with a 15, 16, 1700 horsepower car for the streets. That's rear-wheel drive. The Bugatti got all-wheel drive, and it's made and it has all the money in the world for research and development because they're essentially Volkswagen and Audi vehicles. I mean, like the Bugatti is literally like the Bugatti parent company is Volkswagen, right? Where Koenigsegg is more like a small shop, right? They just make some super dope ass cars, right? But yeah, I was gonna say something earlier about one. What car was I just thinking about? God damn, I've already lost my train of thought. Damn it. Oh, there we go. The Rivian, right? Oh man. And what's the name of that super hyper electric car that's kicking ass right now? Right? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. But yeah, there's what's the name of the super hyper car that's the oh man, it's right there too. I can't remember the name. Yeah, no, the Rivian is the trucks. And I think right because me and one of my friends were having a conversation. He was saying how all the EV trucks are like insanely priced, and I told him from my understanding, the Rivians are actually not that expensive. What's the name of that electric hypercar that's like kicking ass and taking names right now? I see it in my I can see it, but I just can't think of the name of it. Damn it, it's gone. I see it, but I can't think of the name. And they're testing them, and I think they have like 2,000 horsepower, some 2,400, some stupid number. Everyone, we're the Rimac. Thank you, Clutch. The Rimac, yes, bruh. And like I was about to say earlier, yes, people, we are living through the time of 2,000 horsepower cars you can not buy from the factory, but for all intents and purposes, buy from the factory. like with a well, maybe not a warranty, but with a license, like a license plate and everything. Like you actually can drive this on the road. That's insane. Like I you know, I was born in 86, so I remember the days of like a 300, 400 horsepower car was like, oh my God, right? Like the Ferrari 355s and the, the 360s and the just all of that, right? I remember those days, right? The Ferrari 455s, the 488, the 599s. Now we're in the era of like the F12, right? Like your base level supercars are coming in the door at base 650 horsepower. That's insane. That was supercar territory 15 years ago. 15 years ago, 650 was supercar territory. 15 plus years ago, the Enzo made what, 660 something or something like that? 670 something? Now you got Chevy Camaros, and they don't even make Camaros anymore. I think this year's their last year, or last year was their last year, something like that. Or next year, something around this time, right? And the biggest, baddest Camaro, I think, came with 650 horsepower. A Camaro with the same type of power as the Ferrari Enzo from 15 plus years ago, which in a grand scheme of things isn't that long ago. That's crazy. That is like I don't even know how to tell you how crazy it is. Even the hell, like when you think about what the Hellcat is, yeah, it doesn't stick that well. Yeah, it's a big boat, and they've been working on. That's the same chassis that Dodge been playing with for like 20 years. Yes, that's true. But that's still a 700 horsepower sedan, though. It's a boat. It has the wind resistant characteristics of a brick, right? Can't handle with the dam. True, all of that, but you still getting 700 plus horsepower out of that. And if you change the pulleys and give it a tune, you're making seven something to the wheels, late 600 and something to the wheels, right? Klutz says, you see the 3D printed piston heads Porsche's working on with the, was it Male Z? You're talking about the Camaro ZL1 developed at the Nürburgring. Yeah, the ZL1 had what, 650 horsepower? So I've heard. Klutz said a Haitian man is behind all those ghost fast stuff at Dodge. Ralph Giles is his name. Yeah, yep. Yeah, I mean, if we're so for those of you that don't know, some of my non-car enthusiasts, I get it. Um, so with the kind of supercar, hypercar companies are doing is they're releasing SUVs, pricing them at a point where they're a bit more accessible so that they can really use that money to develop all the cool cars, right? So okay, Lamborghini with the Urus, right? They're selling them like hotcakes, but then that allows them to have the revenue to put into the next Lamborghini, that's going to replace the Aventador, which I think is coming out next year or the year after. I think the Aventador has they're about to put it out to pasture. Ha ha ha! Made a joke. There you go. Double entendre. Right? So, um, they're gonna put the Aventador out to pasture, and I guess they're using some of that Urus money to develop the next car, or if they're not pretty much done with it already. And that's how you pretty much have to do it. That's why Porsche came out with the Cayenne and then the Macan, because it then gave them money to do more 911 and Cayman stuff, right? Cayman, Boxer, but definitely the 911 stuff, and definitely when you start getting to the 911 GT3s and GT2s and stuff like that. And Ferrari is getting into the SUV game too. I think they have a SUV coming out, what, next year maybe, or the year after, right? Because they need to, like I said, like the margins for these cars is getting so real where they need to put out these type of things so your wife can have one too, right? But you obviously you have the cooler car, but your wife can still claim she has a Lamborghini, right? She could still claim she has an Aston Martin. So there you go. So she gets the SUV, you get the actual cool ass fucking coupe, the sports car, and y'all could both have SUV. Y'all could both be driving around in Astons or Lambos or Porsches, right? Yeah, that's yeah. Klutz says sounds about right. One of the engineers at my job bought a ZL1 and bought a C8 later. He said the ZL1 is faster. He loved the hell out of it, but sold it at gain during the pandemic. Ooh, yeah. We're definitely living through that era when it comes to automobiles. When it comes to cars right now, if you buy a cool enough car, used, you might be able to flip it for the same amount, if not a couple dollars more, depending on the car. Like it's that real right now in the automobile for cars right now. Well, so what's interesting about 3D printing and I was watching something I think about the new M5. Okay, it just kicked me out for a second, guys. I don't know if you guys can still hear me. Hopefully you can still hear me. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. I don't know. Hopefully you can. But yeah, so I was watching. Let me hurry up and get this out then. Put a comment in the comment for anyone if you guys can still hear me. Hopefully you guys can because it kicked me out. Um, from my understanding, the okay, you guys can still hear me. Okay, perfect. Um, because of 3D printing, they can now do different heads on cars now, right? That opens up a whole new, I mean, just a whole new aspect of vehicles now because of 3D printing, right? That's gonna be so that's for combustion engines, but then that's what sucks, right? Now we have a whole new technology that we can exploit to make cooler engines, but then we're going to EV. I don't want to say too little too late, but it almost feels like that, right? Exactly, Clutch. Clutch said Ferrari has a pecking order. They even got Jay Leno on the BS is why he don't buy won't buy one. For those of you that don't know, so Jay Leno is a big car collector, right? Huge car collector. He don't own one Ferrari. And just like for what the brother just said, what Clutch just said, is that Jay Leno was like, I'm not doing that BS with Ferrari. Ferrari be playing favorites too much, right? They play favorites way too much. They do too much, and there's always some hassle. And if you want to get this car early, then you got to start putting money and start buying your way towards the top of the list. He don't want to play that game. And you talking about a rich man, a rich famous man who's a car collector, but he said no, I'm not doing that. Okay, I will. Clutch says check out the 2023. I guess it's called C Singer 21C 3D printed car. Jay Leno's Garage, the TV show. That mug is the future. Okay. The suspension looks like bone marrow. Okay, I'll check it out. But yeah, Allspeds says you have to build a relationship with Ferrari, which is ridiculous if you have the money. So I don't know if y'all remember this, especially some of my older heads that are into automobiles. But when the Ferrari Enzo came out, I remember hearing that for you to even be considered for the Ferrari Enzo, you had to have had, or I'm sorry, you have to have at that time the F40 and the F50, and then that would put you towards the top of the list. And obviously, you had to have the money for the Enzo, so you had to have had all both of those previous cars, right? When to me the best looking out of all of them is the Ferrari F40, then the Ferrari 288 GTO, then the Ferrari F50, and then the Enzo and the LaFerrari, meh, right? But yeah. So yeah, you have yeah, like you said, you have to have a relationship with Ferrari, and then you have to own the Raris, and that's like saying like for you to get the '96 Impala, that mean you had to own the '60s Impala and the '70s Impala, and then we'll put you on the list. Plus, you got to chip us off a few dollars, and then we'll put you on the list for the '96 Impala. That's bullshit, bro. That's bullshit. I remember even a story, um, when Mike Tyson was fighting. Was it Shaq or was it Mike Tyson? I want to say it was Mike Tyson. Maybe. Um, they they got a Ferrari before it came out. It was a particular Ferrari, but they couldn't be seen with it because they jumped the line, and the other people that were supposed to be ahead of them in the line would have been calling Ferrari like, "This is bullshit. How did Mike get this Ferrari before I did?" Right? For those of you that remember that story, I want to say it was Mike. I don't think it was Shaq. It was Mike. It was Mike. I think. Right? But yeah, so yeah, it's that real. It is that real in the house of the prancing horse. Yeah, it's that real, right? And even like the I remember when Bugatti was a thing. Well, Bugatti's still a thing, by the way. But when Bugatti was a thing, when people started really hearing about Bugattis, um, you heard about them everywhere. And like I just used to think to myself like, but there's only like less than 500 Bugatti Veyrons around this shit. And like I've seen in person because I lived in South Florida. I live in South Florida, so obviously, in person, I've seen five different Ferrari. I mean, I'm sorry, excuse me, Bugatti Veyrons, right? I've seen Flo Rida driving one. I've seen Lil Wayne driving one. There was a red and black one not too far from my workplace, and I've seen two more, right? Yeah. Rentals on no, you ain't renting no Bugatti, bro. You're not renting them. The Bugattis is so rare and so expensive. I don't know who would ever let you rent out their Bugatti, right? I'm not. Let me take that back. I'm not gonna say you can't rent a Bugatti. I just don't know how, right? I don't know who would allow, who would put their one of what 500 and something Bugatti Veyron on the renters market. I'm like, yeah. You imagine you rent out your Bugatti and you get it back with like like chip crumbs. Yeah. Yep. Clutch says Lil Wayne was calling himself the Barack Obama of Bugattis. T-Pain sold his because they have like 16 radiators that cost 40,000 each. And this is when T-Pain was booming. This is when like he was everywhere, right? And yeah, I heard that story also. And he ended up selling it and then buying like a couple of Raris and stuff because the Bugatti was so expensive that you could sell it and y'all hear what I said? You could sell a Bugatti and buy a few Ferraris and Lambos. That's how expensive of a car it was. Number one. Number two, Yeah, I know Wayne had a couple. I know Birdman had that goddamn Lauda Jet, which is like it's a convertible Maybach. Yeah, y'all heard right. And even the way the top retracts from the middle. So like I don't know how to explain it. Like the B and C pillar are intact, and like just the top middle part of the soft top retracts, which is fucking crazy, right? Number one. And then what other car I was gonna tell you that was super dope that somebody had that was rare as fuck. I remember when Wyclef that in his McLaren F1 that was crazy, right? When that was a thing. Who was I just thinking about? Oh yeah, Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather got like 3 or 4 Bugattis, yo. It's insane. I think yeah, like he got like how many damn Bugattis? He said, "You're in Florida and need a transmission rebuilt. Find my dude, Cassie Duffy. He is one of the few technicians in the USA qualified to work on McLaren SLRs. Tell him Sam Bowie from Peoria sent you. The McLaren SLR. Look, that, yeah. The SLR Benz is might be one of my favorite looking modern-ish, even though it's like what almost 20 years old now. Might be one of my favorite looking Benzes. It, as a matter of fact, the reason why I like the Benz GT Coupe is because out of all the Benzes of this modern era, it reminds me of that SLR from back in the day the most. Right? That was one of the when all of those cars came out. When the SLR came out, what other car? The Pagani Zonda. What other car? There was a couple of other cars that all came out around that same time. To me, the SLR wasn't the fastest, and it was an automatic, but it looked it like I just like that long ass hood, that long ass front end, and then the bubble cockpit all the way in the back. Right. I love that shape. Right. One of the best looking freaking automobile shapes in the game. Right. Oh yeah, the damn, you're gonna make me read it, and then now I gotta talk about it. Okay, Allspez, Allspez's SLR has the best version of my Daly's engine, the M159. Same guy who designed the Carrera GT's engine design, ours also. Now, Allspez, you know what I gotta mention because you mentioned the Carrera GT, and so you know what I gotta say. For those of you that don't know what car the Carrera GT is, it's the one that Paul Walker died in. Them Porsches, and I remember the episode like it was yesterday. The second I found out that that was the car that Paul Walker, he wasn't driving, but that the other guy was driving. The second I went right back to the memory, and then I went and watched it of when they tested that Porsche um on Top Gear years before, and they could barely get it keep it straight. Right? The same thing with the Koenigsegg. When those Koenigsegg's first were coming out, there was a guy that was driving one at one of these kind of car events, a yellow one, and you could see he could barely handle it, and it's because he barely knew what he was doing, and it's because the car is that fucking fast and unforgiving. He took it down a straight. The people were off on the side of the road, so they're not on the road. They're off on the side of the road. He took it down a straight, and all my car guys seen this video. You'll know which video I'm talking about with that yellow Koenigsegg, that pinball, all of those freaking people on the side of the road when he lost it. He took out like a dozen or two people, right? And when I saw that video for the first time, the first thing that came to my mind was Top Gear when they put the freaking Koenigsegg through the tire wall, right? So yeah, so that's 2 times when Top Gear showed you that these cars, because you got to think about what you're talking about. You're talking about a rear engine car without traction control, oftentimes with 700 and something horsepower. Oh, okay, let's say 500 and something horsepower to the wheels, 600 and something horsepower to the wheels, some 5, 6, 700 pound-feet of torque, rear wheel drive with no traction control. Right? Like that's what we're talking. It's difficult to explain because I know most people are driving around in a front wheel drive vehicle with traction control and safety aids and all of this other stuff. Like, okay, my car, the Z, I was able to get it at the price I did because it's an automatic. So it's a 4-speed slush box, but it's still a twin turbo engine, right? No traction control, and if the road is just a little damp, just a smidge damp, and I'm coming around the corner the wrong way, if I even think about touching the gas the wrong way, the back will step out on me. And that's only 300 horsepower that got to go through an old ass 4-speed automatic. And it's still, the back will still step out on me if the road is just a little misty. And yeah, it'll step out on me in the dry too if I'm trying. But if I'm not trying in the wet, I got to be careful with that gas pedal. So you imagine and that's 270 some odd pound-feet of torque, right? So to the wheels, it's really like 220 something, 230 something. To the wheels, that 300 horsepower is really, let's put age to it, maybe 240 something to the wheels, maybe 250, probably 240 something. Now you imagine you give me another 300 wheel horsepower, maybe even 400 more wheel horsepower, and another 300 and something pound-feet of torque, and still no traction control, and a manual transmission. Yeah, nah, bro. Yeah, your tires might be wider and all of that, but no, right? Oh yeah, I remember when Eddie Griffin crashed that Ferrari Enzo. By the way, they rebuilt it. I saw it rebuilt, and this is gonna sound crazy, and it only cost like 100 and something $1,000 to rebuild at that time. Yeah, when Eddie Griffin was testing that Ferrari. And by the way, the person whose Ferrari Enzo he was driving turned out to be like a scammer or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm thinking about the same story, the same guy, right? Listen, yeah, that's why I'm cool. That's why I'm cool with 300 horsepower cars, right? I've been trying to tell people like I think of cars almost as animals, right? And I really started thinking about it like that even more when I watched Top Gear's dedication to Anton Senna, and they had Lewis Hamilton drive his old McLaren race car, and they were like, "This thing's a goddamn dinosaur," because you're driving a 1200 horsepower turbo. Or was it? No, no, no. Was it the Honda? Or was it the McLaren? I can't remember. The Dayglow. I want to say Dayglow McLaren. It was a McLaren. I want to say McLaren. But either way, you're dealing with a 1200 horsepower turbocharged car that weighs like 1,000 pounds. That's like if we're comparing cars to animals, your everyday Camry is a golden retriever. Your your Hellcats are like pit bulls. Your Lamborghini Aventadors are like, let's say, an alligator. But your fucking race cars? Oh, They are raptors. Okay. Clutson, Anton Senna was the most aggressive guy in F1. Probably Honda McLaren, I think. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That. I want to say orange and white, or like that red and white. Um, McLaren. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I think we're talking about the same car, same race car. But right now, it's all about Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton, black British brother, killing. I think he's the most decorated, most accomplished F1 driver ever. I think he has the most championships ever, right? Killing everyone, right? I originally started this as a EV conversation, and now we all over the car talk. Clutson, the best ever, right? Yeah, and F1 is a different look. F1 is a different ball game. F1 racing, look, like y'all see some of my replays I put up about Forza, um, and that's A class racing, which expands the horsepower gamut. It depends on the car and the weight and the handling and everything like that. But that's A class racing that I was really doing that. Um, and I did R class racing too. That was my other category class that I really liked, which is like two classes up from A class. I didn't care for X class. S class was whatever, but I liked R class is pretty much all race cars, if not hypercars. Um, yeah, you pretty much are done with street cars after S class. S class is pretty much the end of like street cars. Um, there are street cars in our class, but like you really got to do them up, and you really have to. They're pretty much hypercars. If you really want to be competitive, you're using the hypercars and really nice supercars, and obviously race cars for our class and Forza Motorsport 7. Anyway, I'm saying all of that to say like the adrenaline you feel playing a video game online against 10, 15, 20 other people, I'm just magnifying that or multiplying that times infinity for real life. Like I can't explain to y'all like because if you play any of the sports games, the 2Ks or whatever, it's difficult to explain like the difference between racing games online, and we're talking about more like realistic racing games online, some of the simulators, compared to like your sports games, right? Gran Turismo also, yeah. I've been playing Gran Turismo since Gran Turismo 1. I've played every single Gran Turismo. Um or just about all. I think I didn't play the one for PSP. That was the only one I didn't play. And yes, I do have the current Gran Turismo. I haven't played it in a over a month now. But yes, I do have it. I was playing it all the time until recently. Um, but yeah, it's difficult to explain what it's like to be on track with 10 and 15 other people, real life people from around the world, definitely around the country, and everybody's trying to be in first place. Everybody's trying to be in first place, right? It's difficult to explain what it's like when everybody rushes that first corner, right? It's difficult to explain like what the hunt when you're like in fourth place, but you want to be podium, so that means first, second, or third, and you're faster than third place, but he's far enough that if you really not going at him, he might be able to hit the finish line before you catch up to him, and then vice versa. What it means to be in third place, knowing that fourth or fifth place is faster than you, and if you don't keep on, if you're not really pushing it, they might catch you before you hit the finish line, right? Like the adrenaline in just a video game is crazy. So I could just imagine what it's like in real life, right? I could just imagine because I'm telling y'all, like for those of us that play Forza, Gran Turismo, like those type of more realistic ish, games like that, like bro, these videos, it gets real, y'all. It gets real. I've I've been to war with people on Forza, man. When I tell you, like, oh, you pit maneuvered me on this race, wait, and I wasn't able to catch you on this race, wait until next race. And I will hunt you down, and I will kamikaze myself by putting you through a wall. And I probably could have got podium, but I sacrificed getting podium because I really wanted to get you back. Right? But the like if y'all see the first race I posted of me playing Forza when I was driving my Z, my 300 ZX, you could see like it was a real race. It was me, that white Mustang, that black Camaro, and then the newer body style Mustang in fourth place. But like it was a real, if I would have, and even the I won first place. I won first place on that race, but I didn't have the fastest lap time. That white Mustang that ended up coming in second place was faster than me, but because I was so much faster than him on the straightaways, I was able to hold him off for that last lap. Because if we would have did one more lap, he would have probably hit the finish line before I did, and I would have ended up coming in second place. I had the second fastest lap time, right? Because he did his fastest lap time was like a 136 and some change. Mine was a 138 and some change, right? And the only reason I was able to fight him off, like I said, is because I was way so much faster than him on the straights, but because he had messed up in the beginning, and he had allowed me to get in front of him, right? And on that first lap. But had he stayed in front of me on that first lap, I would have passed him on the straight, but he would have passed me on the corners and built up enough gap that when I would have caught it back up on the straight, it wouldn't be long enough, right? That's the interesting thing about these racing games. Like, the more you play, the more you're like, oh, he's driving that on this track. I don't stand a chance if he knows what he's doing. Or the more you're like, okay, he's better on the corners. I gotta overcompensate on the straightaways. Or sometimes it's the other way around. He's better on the straightaways. That means I gotta I gotta pass him up on the corners, build up a big enough gap that he can't catch up to me by the time we hit the next corner at the end of the straightaway, or he'll pass me on the straightaway, but then I can catch up by this corner and build the gap up again plus some. And then that's assuming that that other person isn't going to try to sabotage you, because that's what we do. Like, fair warning for racing games, if I know your car is faster on the corners, I'll make sure I'm always on the apex of the corner to force you out, and then I'll be in your way. I will just be in your way. I'm not just gonna let you pass me, and vice versa. Some people, they don't just let me pass them. They're gonna make you. It's not that they don't know that you're faster. You have a better car and you're faster. They're just gonna make you have to fight for to pass them, right? All of that, clutch and gear ratios, downforce, ability to draft, and knowing the right technique to use to your advantage, most consistent lap times, all of that, literally all of that. And we're talking about video games, so I'm just imagining what it's like in real life, yo. It's that when I tell you it be so real, and then the closer you get to the finish line, the third lap, and it's you and like two other cars or three other cars, and y'all are like kind of all vying for first place, and y'all are like pretty much on the same level. It be all out. That's when it starts to get. That's when people start to nudge each other a little bit. I'm doing air quotes on that one, right? Nudge each other a little bit, right? You start seeing people getting in each other's way a little bit. People start trading paint a little bit more. It starts getting real. Chaos said you give out too much free game. Clutch said rubbing is racing. Man, I'm telling y'all, bro. You see, okay, perfect. Look at the race I did with the 240Z, the blue 240Z. You see how long it took me to get first place? Look how I fought I literally had to fight for first place. End up towards the back of the pack. I got sabotaged early in the race, right? and then I had to fight, and the fight really started from when I was about in fifth place, and I had to fight every lap for first place. And the only reason I really got first place is because if you notice that R32 with the HKS paint job, he said what track? Was that Sebring or was that Silverstone? No, Sebring. It was Sebring. It was Sebring. It wasn't the full Sebring though. Um, I was racing with my Blue 240Z. It's in my on my page, right? And if you watch like that, the R32 at the end who had first place, he barely touched the grass a little bit, and it caused his car to kind of oversteer. And the second he did that, I pounced on it and I was out. I was out because he kept on sabotaging me anyway. I would pass him on the straights, and then he would nudge me out on the corner and then keep me off of him for the rest of it until I had a chance to pass him again on the straights, and he would do the same thing. And because I built that car to be an acceleration monster, I had to really work on the suspension, the brakes, and everything to manage that car on the corners because it's not a corner car. I can manage it on the corners, but it's really an acceleration car. I built another 240Z for the corners, right? But this car was so much quicker than everything else on the straightaways that as long as I have any type of time to accelerate, I'm a gap your ass because it's light as fuck, and I gave it like 500 and some horsepower, and it was like like a 2,000 pound car, right? Spencer, that's racing. LOL. Gotta fight it out. Take that Z to Sebring, and you're gonna need a nap after 3 laps. I'm telling you. But still to this day, my favorite track of Forza, for at least two favorite tracks, easy, right? Nuremberg yeah, the full Nuremberg because that track separates the boys from the men. 13 miles, right? Separates boys from the men. Unfortunately, they didn't have they did not allow you to drive A class cars for a Nuremberg ring, so you had to do S class cars and up. Um, but I did a bunch of R class races on Nuremberg ring, and I was pretty good. Um, and but my favorite track that separates the boys from the men was Virginia, the full on Virginia, right? And there's two different full tracks for Virginia. I think there's the East and the West, but yeah, Virginia because of all the corners and the tire walls. I love Virginia because Virginia separates the boys from the men, and because I always built any car I drove on Virginia for A class did it in 2 minutes 50 or faster. I even got my big ass heavy Q50 Eau Rouge to do that track in 2 minutes 50 seconds in A class, by the way. But my fastest car on that track did that track in 2 minutes 43 seconds, and that was my R380 race car or road car. Yeah, I I loved Virginia because Virginia separates the boys from the men. All that other tracks you might get lucky. It depends on the car and everything like that. But Virginia, no, if you garbage, oh yeah. And for Virginia, even for you to sabotage someone, you still have to be good enough to keep up and try to crash them out on a corner. If you don't get them on the first couple corners, they're just gonna leave you, and you're never gonna get a chance. And plus, the tire walls won't let you just drive straight through the track and crash them out. So that's why I loved Virginia. I would try my hardest to get out of the first couple corners because, you know, especially that first corner on Virginia, everyone piles in. But once you make it out of that first few corners and you start gapping everyone else, or you start catching up to the people that are slower but that are, like, you know, ahead of you, yeah, that's when it's real. But there's a bunch of tracks on Forza. For me, the easiest tracks on Forza were the Alps, Maple Valley, because they're wide sweepers, and I tuned my R33 LM road car for those tracks, and it was just too easy. Especially if like people weren't trying to sabotage me. I barely had to press on brakes for some corners. Um, but the flip side of that car, because I put the Chevy LS in there, is that it's a momentum car. So I gotta stay on the gas because if you make me really brake and I have to build that speed back up, I gave you too much time to run. But if I'm able to consistently stay on the gas, oh yeah, you're out of there. That I love that car on the Alps and on Maple Valley. On Dubai, it did a pretty good job because of some of the sweeper corners, the wide sweepers. Some corners I just let go of gas, coast, and press on gas again. Yeah, beautiful. Um, but really, yeah. And then obviously the Le Mans track, too easy, just I built a couple of cars for that track, and I would just be flying past people on the straightaways. The only people that really ever really beat me were those people that said, screw everything. I'm putting this V12 on boost in this old ass Ferrari, and I'm gonna be making 1200 horsepower, screw handling. Um, I'm gonna kill everything on the straightaway, and then maybe if you're fast enough, you catch me back up on the corners, but probably not. Right? Like those Jags, there were certain Jags and certain old Ferraris that once I saw them um on on Le Mans, I already knew. I was like, yeah, I don't got shit for him. I already forfeited first place. I'm like, okay, yeah, so that means I'm gonna come in second or third. But first place is not mine, right? There's certain cars that you know, depending on what track you're on, like for A class, it was the LS powered BRZs, right? Because they didn't have a really good acceleration, but their top speed was so badass that what you would have to do is keep up with them on the straights and then try to sabotage them or be in their way in the corners because it took them so long to accelerate to that top speed that hopefully, right? But if it wasn't for that, he was just gonna kill you on the straights, and there you wouldn't catch up on the corners towards the end of the Le Mans track. He would just be too far. Um, but yeah, that's the one thing about these type of games. The more you play them, the more you know, the more you like, okay, I know this driver, I know his technique, I know how he drives, I know what cars he uses on what tracks, and I was predictable as hell, right? And I know what cars he uses on what tracks. Oh crap, he used that. All right, then I'm not gonna be able to get in first or second place. So let me really fight for third place because that's the highest I'm gonna get, right? Yeah, Clutch said tall final drive ratios gave them top speed. Yeah, and garbage acceleration, right? And garbage acceleration. But their top speed was easily 250, 255 and up. It depended on who tuned it and how. If they went for straight top speed, you might be able to outrun them. But if they played with it just a little bit and said, I'm gonna sacrifice a few more miles an hour top end for acceleration, you got a problem on your hands, right? Because that means those turbos spool up faster, right? And that means he catches up to you quicker on the straights. Maybe he doesn't pull away fast enough, or yeah, fast enough because his top speed isn't 258 anymore. It's 250, but he caught up to you so much faster, and that means all that little back straight, he's accelerating faster now. Yeah. Oh, don't let them get your slipstream. It's a wrap. Oh, it's a wrap. I'm gonna put my I'm gonna put the replays up of Le Mans. I'm gonna put the replays up of Le Mans, right? I was an asshole on Le Mans. I'm not gonna tell you a lot of y'all. Yeah. There's certain tracks where like I know the monsters are out. I might have a chance at first place, and so if you're in my way, I'm not gonna try to crash you off the corners, but you might get that friendly trade in paint, that friendly nudge, that move out the way. And if you sabotage me now, you better jump off of this page, off of this live, out of this room. Better yet, that's what we say, out of this room, because I'm going to kill you the next race, right? I'm going to destroy you the next race, right? But yeah, and once again, if it's like that in real life, I mean, on the video game, I can't even tell y'all what it's like in real life because I've watched videos of Lewis Hamilton sabotaging the shit out of people in F1 racing. And vice versa, right? I've watched videos of Anton Senna. I've watched videos of Schumacher, all of them, right? Especially like if it's time for them to change out tires and you got a fresh set of tires and you're handling way better than them, but they're not going into the pits for another lap. Oh, they're gonna be in your way, and they're purposely in your way. Literally every nanosecond counts. I didn't say second. I said nanosecond. I've beat people in Forza and in Gran Turismo by like a tenth of a second. Especially like on Daytona, not the complete perfect tri-oval of Daytona, but the Daytonas with the kind of course in the middle, the track in the middle. They I've beat people like I've started towards the back of the pack, so let's say 12 cars. 12 cars, I'm the 13th car, and I'm faster than everyone else, or I'm faster than everyone except for the first place, and I've caught everyone except, oh, okay, so not that much, but yeah. He said, okay, yeah, yeah. So millisecond, maybe? But yeah, so I've caught everyone except for first place. I've caught everyone and ended up in first place, right? I've caught everyone and ended up in third place, right? So yeah, but let's say I start off in 15th and I barely passed third place right as we hit the finish line. Like I barely passed him like by like a finger, right? It is one of the most exhilarating feelings in the world. I actually think I still have the replay where I beat who would have been first place. I ended up coming in first place because so he saw me catching up to him, so he jumped in my way on Daytona, and so when I'm like, oh my god, if I do this one more time, he's gonna win. He's gonna beat me literally by a car because my car is on his back bumper, right? So I ducked into the grass and I barely beat him. So when it's one of those type of situations, you don't know if you beat the person until the leaderboard shows up at the end. You don't know because you were almost right next to them, so you don't really know which one of y'all ended up in first place. And then when the leaderboard shows up, and then it shows you beat the person by 0.025 seconds or something like that, right? And you're like, haha, beat you, ass clown, right? You tried to sabotage me, but I've done that a couple of times, right? Yeah, man, it's one of the most exhilarating feelings. And remember, we're talking about a video game. So yeah, okay, so yeah, Clutch, thank you. So yeah, 100 milliseconds. So yeah, I've beaten people by that much and less actually, because that's zero point 0.1. I've beat people by 0.025, 0.013. Yeah, I think the closest gap that I've been beaten by, or that someone beat me by, I've beaten someone by, or someone beat me by, was like 0.005, right? Which is like, at that point, you're talking about like paper thin, right? But yeah, y'all. So, okay, so this stream has been going on long enough. I think I got some of my thoughts out. Got to ramble a little bit. Got to speak about. So the subjects once again was, you know, the Latino community trying to hide their colorism and racism, specifically towards Black people. And I used Ida Rodriguez speaking about that to go off. Also, and I'm sorry, you guys, my nose is getting a little stuffy, so I'm sorry for the way I sound right now. I also spoke about FD Signifier speaking about Black Panther 2 or Wakanda Forever and the erasure of black men and how he pretty much says that it's not true, right? Um, and so he plays that down. Um, and I spoke about that being pretty much, excuse me, girl boss. It's pretty much girl boss feminism, right? Black girl boss feminism. We also spoke about Sergeant Willie Pete and his black gender war industrial complex, and I really like that phraseology. Um, and lastly, which turned into a talk about freaking car racing games. We spoke about EVs and the kind of rise of EV vehicles and a lot of the car industry right now. And thank you guys for listening in with that. And so that kind of inspired me. I will be doing. I didn't forget. I will be doing the car talk video soon enough. Go ahead and drop it in the comments, chaos. Um, but yeah, so we'll have more conversation about EVs and turbos and superchargers and that's the difference between that and naturally aspirated, right? You know. Let me see. Allsped said when you drop those twin on the rotaries 57s in that Z and hit the boost scramble, you'll be doing that in real life. I mean, I've thought about what I really want to do. Um, I am gonna manual swap the car. I actually have the transmission, but I think I want to keep the one I have, and I might want to buy another one. But then, yeah, we're looking at a few $1,000s for the complete manual swap, which would be a '98 twin turbo 300ZX transmission, even though they stopped selling them in the US in '96, but they kept on selling them around the world, particularly in Japan until 2000. But yeah, I'm looking at a few $1,000s if I want to not only manual swap it, but manual swap aluminum drive shaft, lightweight flywheel, um, definitely stronger clutch. Yeah. And yeah, and when it comes to power, it's I'm not making it a race car, so to tell you the truth, if I could get a good five something to the wheels, I would be good because I'm not. I just I just want to know I have it, not because I'm gonna race anyone, right? And that's a good amount for the Z. Yeah, that's a good amount that you could still put it on a dyno and not feel embarrassed, right? But yeah, so that's the goal. But yeah, and then like I said, I'm thinking about what I want to do for a daily. I am a big Nissan head, so there's a couple of Nissans and Infinities I have that I really would like to cop. But yeah, the and pause on this, but the Nissan Titan Cummings um, is still too expensive on the used car market. Especially the one that I would want to get, the spec'd out one that I would want to get. They're still too expensive. Q50 Red Sports, for the year that I would want, still too expensive used car market. And even though I wouldn't be getting one today, I'm thinking about even a couple years out, they're still going to be, if they continue on this price with the subtle price drop or the depreciation every year, it's still going to be too expensive in the next couple years. Um, what else? This is one car I've been drooling over since it first came out. The M37, Infinity M37 S, but I want the all-wheel drive S. So listen, this name is gonna sound complicated. the M30 Infinity M37 XS with the Aero kit, with the stock Aero kit, right? And you spell Aero for that, Aero, right? So that might actually be within the realm of possibility because the price of depreciation will come down and I could still touch one of them with less than 100,000 miles for not crazy money. And then the other two cars on that list are the Sentra Nismo, right? From about, I think they started selling those in like 2017 or something, 2018. The Sentra Nismo, but if I get that, I want it in that pearl white, that dope ass white. Um, or, and I said it before, yes, y'all heard it, I'm gonna say it again. The Nismo Juke RS, I actually really do like them shits. I know they're ugly, I get it, I know. But the Nismo Juke RS, um, because of the all-wheel drive and yes, that crap CVT transmission, but they actually hold if you're not gonna try to make like I don't know 300 plus horsepower, 300 pound-feet of torque. I just want bolt-ons with that and a blow-off valve, um, and obviously I'm gonna put the transmission cooler to it. But yeah, that's a possibility for another daily, right? Klutz said, I'm only getting 3 hours of sleep tonight talking cars. No, I'm about to end it. I'm about to end it out. So thank you guys, everyone that listened in, for listening to me ramble about vehicles for the past I don't know how long. Um, y'all have a good rest of y'all night. Um, I will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Um, Klutz said, buying this 2011 Mustang effed up my whole program up by at $7,000 for the drop top. I couldn't walk away. Look, I know the feeling. I know the look. The Z messed my savings account all the way up, right? But I had to do it because if I didn't do it now, I would try to get one in 2 3 years and I wouldn't be able to afford it because I wanted one. I wanted to give it one last go because I've owned one before. And then y'all excuse my background because these people have turned people turning the garage into a race course. Y'all give me a second. My apologies, y'all. So, but yeah, yeah. So I like I said, I had to get it now because I want to give it one last go. And when you start dealing with certain vehicles, you realize how rare they are in the grand scheme of things. And there is a point where the price starts going up, and if you don't cop it now, you just won't be able to get one. It's just that simple. You will look up in 2 3 years and you would have been priced out and you won't be able to find what you're looking for. Definitely not exactly what you're looking for, and definitely not exactly what you're looking for a reasonable price, right? It wouldn't be that it would be impossible to get one in 3 years or 4 years. It's that what you're going to be what people are going to be asking for in 3 4 5 years for a 20 plus year or 30-year-old car that you're not even driving every day. It's a toy, right? And the question then becomes, how much do you want to spend on a toy that's gonna break and you're not driving it every day, right? So that's the question. So that really is the question, and I will end it right there, right? Y'all have a good rest of y'all night. Like I said, I will pause right there. Love, peace, and chicken grease. All right, brothers, I'm out. Y'all have a good rest of y'all night.